The team responsible for Root Letter are mostly composed by former Konami employees who created Love Plus, and this includes the talents of the legendary artist Minotaro. By the time that Konami got completely crazy, they joined forces with Kadokawa Games to create this new title for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita. However, that doesn't mean that Root Letter is a spiritual successor to Love Plus, and that's because it's not even a dating sim. An investigative visual novel would fit better to describe what type of game we are talking here. You play as Nakamura Takanori, but you can also change his name if it's not to your liking. He is a 33 years old man who used to exchange letters with Fumino Aya, a very kind girl living in the countryside who often gave him courage and strength thanks to the letters that she wrote to him from time to time. But this was 15 years ago, and she never got in contact with him ever since. However, he finds a letter from her that he has never seen before. It was the last letter she sent to him, and it had a terrible revelation.
私は人を殺してしまいました。罪を償わなければなりません。これでお別れです。さようなら。
Feeling confused about this, he decides to travel to Matsue, Aya's hometown, to see if he can learn what happened to his old pen pal, but he isn't able to find Aya anywhere. His only hope is to find Aya's old friends that she often mentioned in her letters, since they may be the only ones who actually know the truth behind the events of 15 years ago. Unfortunately, Aya only used nicknames when talking about them, and those are
お坊ちゃん育ちのチビ、運動神経抜群の猿、正義感が強い男前のガリ、優しいデブ、おしゃべりなビッチ、学校一の秀才のメガネ。
And the aptly named Sir not appearing in this film.
それにかけがえのない親友。
Gosh! The only way for her to be even more offensive than that is for her to have two more friends. Stinky, the poor kid, and Nigga, the exchange student. But anyway, it turns out that Takanori doesn't know who those friends are, and even when he finds them, they are not willing to talk about anything related to Aya.
彼女はいません。いつの間にか消えてしまったんです。
So it's up to you to investigate the situation by traveling to different locations inside Matsue in order to find clues about the past. Once you collect enough information, it is time to make your target spill the beans in a segment that is much similar to Phoenix Wright. You can use items, ask questions, and look around for clues in the background. The game is not too hard, and you can always use the think option to give you tips to what you have to do next. In each chapter, you must remember what was your answer to one of Aya's letters in the past, which is perhaps the most interesting mechanic in the game, since it does actually have influence in what happens in the future, and can change the ending of the story. There are 5 endings, but to be honest, some of them are kinda boring. What is even worse is that you need to watch most of the same events over and over again in order to get those different endings. Nevertheless, there is enough interactivity to keep you focused in the game, and the story is very fast-paced, especially because the conversations doesn't take too long, unlike most visual novels. But believe it or not, one of the highlights of this game is the protagonist. Even though he doesn't have much of a character design, he does got a pretty interesting personality, so I think this more than makes up for the fact that he's just a silhouette. For instance, his nickname is Max, and that's because he likes to do everything to the maximum of his capabilities. There is even a special mechanic in the game just to represent this characteristic of his, the maximum mode, where you have to scream at your target and say your inner feelings to him or her. Aside from that, he doesn't care too much for other people's feelings, especially when he's in the middle of an investigation, and that's why some people hate his guts.
また来たんですか。あなたの顔を見るのはうんざりなんですよね。
There are 10 chapters, and each takes around 40 minutes, which means it doesn't take too long to complete the game, and it also explains why this game was only 4,600 yens. Different from Minotaro's previous work in Exist Archive, the visuals in Root Letter are very realistic. They still look excellent though. The colors, the shading, the proportions, it's just perfect. And they also make perfect use of it. The illustrations are presented in a very dramatic way, which resembles a mystery thriller or a comic book. The themes and narrative style are very mature. All the important characters are over 30 years old, and the story is not exactly about romance. So you better don't go into this game expecting to find underage schoolgirls doing cute stuff and falling in love with the protagonist. Root Letter is not this kind of game. Well, this is the only lolly in the game. But she turns out to be the daughter of one of the main heroines. So I think nobody will be creepy enough to lust after her. After all, her mother is the same age as the protagonist. Who am I kidding? Most visual novel fans don't care about that. But I digress. The important thing is, Root Letter is a pretty mature visual novel, and it may be the best game for beginners in the genre, especially those who are looking for a more serious story. This team of developers will be making many other visual novels with the same characters in new roles, which is basically the same thing as Tezuka Osamu's Star System. Nevertheless, I've never seen this system being used in a game franchise before, so I think this is pretty interesting, and I'll be looking forward to the next entries in this series. For those who are interested in playing this game, but who are not able to understand any Japanese, there is still hope, and that's because this game will be released in the English language, and that will still be at some point of this year in 2016. And that's it for this review. But if you got any questions about Root Letter, just leave a comment. Thank you for watching. Bye!